Imagine a world where every financial decision can alter the fate of empires, where a simple stock market move turns strangers into legends. Now close your eyes and think, what sets an average investor apart from those who enter history? Is it merely luck? Or is there a secret formula that spans centuries? From Wall Street to the bustling streets of 19th century London, from emerging markets to crises that shook entire nations, some names stood out as true masters of strategy, capable of seeing the invisible when everyone else was looking the wrong way. Men who defied collective fear, who bet when no one dared, and who, in doing so, left eternal marks on the global financial system. But who are these giants who shaped our understanding of investments to this day? What decisions did they make in moments of chaos that forever changed the game of money? And, most intriguing, what can we learn from them to apply in our own lives even centuries later? Prepare for a cinematic journey through the history of capital, audacity, and future vision. Stay until the end to discover the 5 greatest investors in history and the timeless lessons they left us. The story of great investors begins long before the digital age, even before New York skyscrapers became symbols of the world economy. Imagine London in the 19th century, streets covered in fog, carriages crossing the city, and inside cafes, top-hatted men discussing figures, debts, and rumors of wars. It was in this setting that Nathan Rothschild built a legendary reputation. It is said that, after the Battle of Waterloo, he used insider information to anticipate movements in the British market. While other investors hesitated out of fear, Rothschild bought securities when everyone else was selling. Truth or myth, this story immortalized him as a symbol of strategic vision and audacity. He not only multiplied his fortune, but also helped consolidate the Rothschild family's financial influence, which spread across all of Europe. Moving forward in time, we arrive at the turn of the 20th century. Amidst an America that was rapidly industrializing, a young man named Jesse Livermore began his career as a floor trader. Known as the Great Bear of Wall Street, Livermore built and lost fortunes, always with bold bets during times of crisis. In 1907, when panic seized the markets, he not only survived but prospered, becoming a nearly mythical figure. Meanwhile, in another era and in another style, Benjamin Graham emerged as the father of value investing. Unlike risk-takers, Graham believed in discipline, in-depth study of financial statements, and almost philosophical patience. His book, The Intelligent Investor, became a Bible for future generations, including a young apprentice who would become the most famous investor of the 20th century, Warren Buffett. And we cannot forget John Templeton, who crossed the Atlantic to become a pioneer in global investments. When many believed that financial borders were limited, he saw opportunities in distant markets, diversifying his portfolio on a global scale. Templeton bet against pessimism, buying stocks during times of war and recession, always with impressive results. This first part shows us how, in different times and contexts, these men emerged not just as investors, but as visionaries. They knew how to observe chaos with different eyes, identifying not just risks, but also open doors to the construction of financial empires. Today, when we think about investments, we are faced with bright screens, real-time charts, and high-frequency algorithms. But at the core, the lessons of these pioneers still echo: courage in the face of uncertainty, patience amidst haste, and vision when the crowd loses itself in panic. These stories are not just about money. They are about how extraordinary minds can transform crises into opportunities and doubts into convictions. With each step, we are closer to understanding what truly sets apart the greatest investors in history. As we move forward through time, we see that the feats of these giants left permanent marks. Their strategies were not just isolated acts. They shaped entire markets and inspired schools of economic thought. Nathan Rothschild, for example, demonstrated that information is power. In the 19th century, when communications were slow, his network of messengers and agents gave him an unparalleled advantage. These stories are not just about money. They are about how extraordinary minds can transform crises into opportunities and doubts into convictions. With each step, we are closer to understanding what truly sets apart the greatest investors in history. As we move forward through time, we see that the feats of these giants left permanent marks. Their strategies were not just isolated acts. They shaped entire markets and inspired schools of economic thought. Nathan Rothschild, for example, demonstrated that information is power. In the 19th century, when communications were slow, his network of messengers and agents gave him an unparalleled advantage.
This notion of insider information inaugurated the importance of speed and market intelligence, something that today echoes in algorithms and real-time analysis. Jesse Livermore, on the other hand, showed the dark side of risk. Although he built immense fortunes predicting market downturns, his personal life was marked by instability and tragedy. His story is a powerful reminder. Investing can bring wealth, but it also demands emotional balance and self-control. Livermore became a myth that still inspires and frightens investors today. Benjamin Graham brought rationality to the game. By advocating that the true value of a company lay in its fundamentals, he created a method that became an antidote to rampant speculation. His teachings shaped not just Warren Buffett, but countless managers around the world. It is Warren Buffett who embodies the success of patience. Known as the Oracle of Omaha, Buffett transformed the small firm, Berkshire Hathaway, into a billion-dollar conglomerate, guided by simple principles. Invest in what you understand, think long-term, and never underestimate the power of compound interest. In a world obsessed with quick gains, Buffett has become a living proof that consistency beats impulsivity. John Templeton finally left a legacy of intellectual courage. During World War II, when many saw only destruction, he bought stocks of undervalued companies. Decades later, this boldness proved visionary. Templeton taught that the best investments are often hidden where no one has the courage to look. The impact of these 5 figures transcend the pages of financial history. They not only amassed wealth, but transformed how we think about money, strategy, and even risk. Today, business schools, novice investors, and even large funds still study their moves as true lessons in survival and prosperity. Whether it's Rothschild's boldness, Livermore's audacity, Graham's discipline, Buffett's patience, or Templeton's global vision, they all shared a common trait: the ability to think differently from the crowd. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson. Great investors do not follow the flow, they create it. By challenging the logic of their times, they paved paths that we still follow. But the question remains, what can we in the present truly learn from them? We have reached the end of this journey, and looking back, we realize that the 5 greatest investors in history were not just wealthy men. They were silent narrators of human behavior in the face of money. Each, in their own way, showed that investing is much more than numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about understanding the psychology of the masses, recognizing collective fear, and above all, having the courage to go in the opposite direction. In times of panic, Rothschild saw opportunities. Amidst the collapse, Livermore found room to grow. Graham reminded us that patience and method are shields against impulsivity. Buffett showed that consistency can outlast generations. And Templeton taught us that the world is bigger than our own geographical limits. These lessons remain alive and more relevant than ever. Today, as we face global crises, market fluctuations, and uncertainties about the future of the economy, their stories invite us to reflect. Are we ready to see beyond the chaos? More than ready-made formulas, these men left principles that span centuries. The courage to invest when everyone flees, the patience to wait when haste reigns, the discipline to maintain logic amidst emotion, and the vision to believe in possibilities that seem impossible. At the heart of it, being an investor isn't just about buying and selling. It's about understanding that each decision carries a piece of our own worldview. And perhaps that's why these stories fascinate us so much, because in some way, we see ourselves in them. Now, the question turns to you. Which of these lessons resonates most with your life? Is it Buffett's patience,
Templeton's boldness, or Graham's rationality? If this journey through the world of history's greatest investors has inspired you, don't forget to leave your comment, share your perspective, and subscribe to the Enriching World channel. Here, we'll continue exploring stories that show how money shapes destinies, empires, and even the future of humanity. And remember, the true investment isn't just in the market, but in how we learn from the past to build the future.